What is up? Pete Sweeney here. We are your relocation experts if you are planning on moving into the Emerald Coast. Today, we're going to be going over the pros and cons of Pensacola, Florida. Let's go. If this is your first time watching, we don't like wasting your time. Let's go ahead and dig into the meat and potatoes of this video, with the first pro being the fact that Pensacola has that perfect mix of all the amenities without the craziness. And we actually say this from experience because our family owns a couple properties down in Clearwater. It gets pretty crazy down there, guys, and it feels like every time we come to Pensacola, it's that perfect mix where you could go hang out by the beach, you could go to all the restaurants, and you don't have to worry about all that craziness that so many of these other beach cities, or I guess close to beach cities, experience. You're able to sit back and really enjoy yourself. Yes, every now and then from time to time when you're in high season, you will experience some of that congestion, but nowhere near as bad as, say, Clearwater, St. Pete's, a lot of those other popular cities. The second pro that we're going to be covering is the fact that Pensacola is more seasonal than, say, South Florida. And what do we mean by that? So what we mean by that is you are going to experience summer, fall, and spring. Maybe a couple days dose of winter. I don't know. You know, every now and then it depends on, it'll drop below freezing. Me personally, I'm from Denver, so I am so used to all of the seasons. Sometimes getting a little bit over the whole winter super coldness, but you will experience that here as opposed to South Florida. Hey, if that's something where you want to experience summer and then mild summer, go more South Florida, but here you actually get to experience those seasons. I like the mix-up of the different temperatures of the different seasons. That way we're just not constantly dealing with the heat that comes with Florida. Pro number 3 is that you cannot beat the beaches that are here in Pensacola. Now, let me go ahead and preface this a little bit because I understand that Pensacola Beach and Pensacola are two separate municipalities, right? But if you've ever been to Pensacola Beach, nothing compares. Like I mentioned, we have properties down in Clearwater, some of the best beaches known around the country. Pensacola beats it out. The white sand is amazing. You got the Emerald Sea that meets up to that white sand, and it is just beautiful. If you have never experienced Pensacola, or if you are planning on moving into the Emerald Coast, I highly recommend checking it out, and you're gonna fall in love as soon as your feet touch that sand. The fourth pro that we're gonna be discussing in regards to Pensacola is the cost of real estate. It is so much cheaper as opposed to somewhere like Destin, and we've got the numbers to back that up. So if you're looking at a median sales price, and what we'd like to do with our median sales prices is we have attached and detached. So you got your single family homes along with your condos and townhouses. You got a median sales price as of February of 2023 of $289,000. Now let's compare that to Destin. You got a median sales price in Destin as of February of 2023 of $590,000. I understand Destin is a huge tourist place that a lot of people go to and also want to live, and so that's why the prices have increased so much in Destin. Pensacola is kind of like that little hidden gem where it has just as nice of beaches, but you can get it at a discount, half the cost of Destin. Why not choose Pensacola? Now you might be saying, okay, you know, Destin's one of those one-offs. That's one of those places that everyone wants to be, and that's why it's so expensive. All right, let's jump a little bit more South Florida. Let's look at Cape Coral, right? Cape Coral, if you're looking at the real estate over in Cape Coral, you got a median sales price of $405,000. Pensacola is one of those places, if you want to live in a beautiful beach town, that will be Pensacola, Florida. The fifth pro that we really noticed when we came down here, because like I said, we're from Colorado. You know what, Colorado, for the most part, we have friendly people, but it doesn't have that southern charm that we noticed here in Pensacola. Quick story for you. So the first time that we ever flew into Pensacola, we were hungry, we got our kids, we got somewhere to go. We went to this one restaurant, we're sitting down, having our food, having a good time, and we heard a little boy who was kind of back talking to his grandfather, and he said, "Boy, you better find Jesus." It's one of those things, you just cannot find that character. So too many other places in the United States. Pensacola has that southern charm that is just enjoyable to be around. Before I break into the cons, guys, if this is content that is value to you, can you do us a huge favor? Hit that subscribe button, give us a thumbs up, maybe hit that little notification bell. And if you are planning on relocating into the Emerald Coast, we are your relocation experts. Did I already mention that? We're going to throw our phone number in below with our email. Give us a call or text, doesn't matter day or time. We are the team that you want to know if you are planning on relocating into the Emerald Coast. Con number 1 that we're going to go into is the fact that it is missing some of those big city pros, right? And so All right, this is kind of embarrassing saying this, but the first thing that I noticed is the fact they don't have a Costco here. You have to drive all the way up to Mobile, Alabama just to go to Costco there. I know it's one of those first world problems, but we love Costco. Our family loves Costco. We like buying in bulk, all right? Another thing I noticed actually flying into here is at the airport, I still can't figure out whether it's a regional or international airport, but there's not too many direct flights, if any at all, for depending on the carrier too. Like I know some carriers do have direct flights, but a lot of them don't have those direct flights because it is a smaller airport. So if you are planning on traveling quite a bit, you might have to transfer just to kind of get to where you want to be. Along the lines of missing some of those big city pros, one of the things that we've really noticed when in Pensacola is the fact that it seems like it takes forever to get from point A to point P, just because you really don't have too many major highway systems. You pretty much just have two. Outside of that, you're taking city back roads all the way. And so if you're planning on getting from one side of the city to the other side of the city, it seems like it takes quite a bit because you're having to run into all the lights, you're having to run into the congestion that you experience when traveling along some of those back roads, those city roads. Con number two that we're going to break into, and I think this might apply more to me just because I am from Colorado, where guess what, basements are a thing, is there really are no basements here in Pensacola. This might not be a huge deal to some of you who do currently live in a state or a city that doesn't really have basements, but basements are freaking awesome. And that's one of the things that, like, when we moved down here, we're like, what the heck, it doesn't have a basement? I don't get to have my man cave. Where am I going to put my pool table? And so the fact that you can't have basements, I understand high water tables, there's probably tons of other things that go into it that I have no idea about, but the fact that you can't have a basement, that is a huge con and something you might want to consider if you currently live somewhere that does have basements. Con number three that we're going to break into is the fact that you've got to worry about termites and mold. I'll tell you right now, so there's something that we didn't really consider much of this at all, and when we were asked to have the termite inspection, we're unfamiliar with termites. We're from Colorado, where there's really little to no termites whatsoever there, and then also the mold. And so like we had our shower liner lining the inside of the shower, and we realized like the black mold, how easy it is to grow. You can't even let it touch the tile. You got to make sure that like when it's wet that it's either off the tile or something like that. But mold is a big problem down here, along with termites, something to consider. We're a person in the house, one of the experts on the team that we actually utilize here when relocating other people into the Emerald Coast is they're talking about whether you want a block or a frame house. Blocks are preferred here in Florida just because you don't have that risk of termites as you would with a frame house. Something that we really didn't know about, and something you must consider when relocating into Pensacola. Con number four is the fact that if you have a specialty diet, we're talking about, like gluten-free, if you're talking about vegan, keto, it's really not catered too much here. There are a few restaurants who do cater to that, but if you live somewhere like California, Colorado, or all these places that they do cater to that quite a bit, you're not really going to find that in Pensacola. And you might even get a dirty look if you order a burger without a bun, because they're like, wait, what a second, you're going to eat a burger without a bun? And so I'm not saying that we experienced personally, but it might have been something that we experienced personally. Again, might not be a huge worry of yours. For us personally, my wife is gluten-free, and so it's not by choice. It's something that we all constantly have to look at, and it's just there wasn't too many restaurant options when you're looking at eating out here in Pensacola. The fifth and final con that I'm going to go over is the extreme drivers out here, and I'm talking about extremes on both spectrums. You got the super slow people and you got the super fast, and when I say super fast, I mean really fast people out here. And so on the road, it is a little nerve-wracking if you aren't on one of those extremes. If you're just driving, like my typical safe spot is like 5 over, you're just going, you're cruising, someone will either come up riding your ass, or you're sitting there getting caught behind someone who's going 20 under. And so we've definitely experienced a lot of those extreme drivers here in Pensacola, something to kind of think about if relocating here. All right, there you go. We brought you 5 pros and 5 cons of Pensacola, Florida, guys. If this is some content that you value, that you want to continue to watch, why don't you go ahead and hit that subscribe button, thumbs up, little notification bell, that way we're notified every single time that we put out a brand new video. Also, if you are planning on relocating in the Emerald Coast and want the top experts in the area, the best team to work with, why don't you give us a call or text on the phone number right below where you answer those calls. Doesn't matter day or time, we are there. And until next time, we love you. Bye.